Hi everyone, Jen here for Country Craft Creations, and today I'm going to show you how to make a really quick, clean, and simple folio album. This could be given as a gift, and I have had this Simple Stories, Simple Vintage Lemon Twist paper for a little while, and I'm actually a little behind on projects, and therefore all of this paper unfortunately is not available in the store anymore. There are some options in this collection still available. However, like I said, not all of it is available, but this could be done in any collection. This would be great using navy artisan cardstock and the new Simple Stories, the beach themed paper. That would be wonderful. Or one of the amazing collections that are exclusive to Country Craft Creations as well. So I'm going to show you this finished album, and then I'm going to do a tutorial and show you really quick how to make this super simple folio. You could make several of these at a time for gifts or give them as a card. There's just so many different uses for fun little folios. Now I will tell you, this is a 5.5 by 5.5 inch square folio, and my idea came from originally, speaking of Tamara's beautiful papers, I made this little album here at the very beginning of my design team journey with Tamara and Country Craft Creations. And this was using her beautiful paper with the bees. And I made this little folio. And this is just very similar to what we will be doing today. So let's just dive in. I will tell you that I have used some of the Buttons Galore and More Caribbean. These are from the store. I'm not quite sure if they're still available, but I did use those on my cover here. I used some black Graphic 45 chipboard on the back, but you could also use regular chipboard, cover it with black paper. And on the back, I've used one of the cut-aparts here to put a date. So if you wanted to date this before you give it as a gift or leave it for them to do, that would work as well. I did not want to over embellish this album with flowers and such, so I did not do that. And I've done matting throughout. This is some of the seam binding from the Country Craft Creations store. So when we open this up, the first thing you see is this page here with this fun little, I love to do these. I'm sure you've seen a tutorial of mine before where I have made one of these little sliding mechanisms on a belly band. And then I've put one of the little chipboards from this collection on the bottom, just so this doesn't fall out when you pick out the album. It just kind of holds the bottom of it. And then this is just a fun little photo mat. On this little flap here, I've used some of the brads from the collection, some of the stickers from the sticker book. The brads I've used mainly as weights. So without this brad here, this kind of flips open a little too easy. So I laid this here, glued it partially on, and that just makes it so that this weighs down a little bit. It opens up to this with a little flap there, and I will show in my tutorial how to do that. Open it to the middle, and again, we have some weighted pieces here. Flip this up, and we have a full image here. This one here has one of the stickers, and we're going to lift that up again. And here we have some of the stickers. We have one of the butterflies from the ephemera. This flap also has some of the stickers and a butterfly. Open this up, and I kind of mirrored these. It's very hard to get this all in the camera, so we'll do it this way, then you can see. So as you can see, I put a butterfly here, flower, flower, and just kind of mirror imaged those. And that just all closes back up. And then our final flap back here, this one actually does have a magnet, and that is an option that you could put in the whole thing. If you wanted magnets here or magnets on the pages here, this is the only place that I did use a magnet. And so this flap would stay down nicely. So we have this little area for a journaling or a picture. This little area, this little bee here from the ephemera collection is covering my other portion of my magnet, and the other magnet is underneath. On this side here, we have this fun little tuck pocket. And I explained in my video how this works. And then I just have this fun little flip up with some of the cut aparts. And we have a fun little pocket here that's notched out using some of those brads, and this fun little journaling card added to paper to make a photo mat. So that is the album, and next I will show you how I did my album, how to create it. And like I said, you can make this with any collection, any base color, whatever you like. It's just a fun, quick, simple album that seems simple, but to somebody who gets this as a gift, they're going to think that you spent hours working on this because of all the fun little interactive details. So stay tuned for the tutorial. All right, so let's dive in and get this folio made. So for our base, we're going to use black cardstock. Now, I did not use Artisan. However, I would prefer it. I just did not have any on hand when I decided to do this project. So the first thing you're going to do is take two 5.5 by 12 pieces of black cardstock. So once you have your two 5.5 by 12 inch pieces, we're going to adhere those together. And I think I used about a 1/4 inch score tape to put mine together. You can use glue as well. So you're going to lay that on your scoreboard with the lengthwise, and you're going to score it 5.5 and 6, 11.5 and 12. And that's going to give us our 1/2 inch spines. Then you want to just roll this over to that spot where your last score line was. I apologize if you can hear my cat in the background. He's very old and he's decided he's going to walk around the house and whine all day. So once you do that, you're going to put that 11.5 inch score line back up at the 0, score again at 5.5 and 6, and then we're going to score at 10. And whatever you have left over, like I said in the beginning, don't even worry about, because this is going to become a tuck spot and it can be any size. So this is not a worry. You can cut this off if you choose not to have a tuck spot here. But in essence, we want this to be a little bit shorter than our last page. So when this folds, we will have this like so. Okay? So that is our base. Next, we are going to grab these extra 2 black pieces. And now these pieces, let me remove these are 2 5.5 by 5 1/4, and they are scored at 1/2 inch on one of the 5.5 inch sides. And that's going to turn these into 5 1/4 by 5. Okay? And the reason that these are a little bit smaller than I did on the original is because I want to make sure there's enough space for these to move without them having any issues. So what we're going to do here, I'm just going to go ahead and use glue for the sake of video here. And I am just going to run my glue down that 1/2 inch flap. And I'm going to put this, remember this is our middle panel, our second 5.5 inch. So I want to put this up into here just to make sure that I get this nice and straight. I'm going to use my scoreboard as a tool, if I can get a hold of the paper, and just make sure you have about the same amount on both sides. And then look at your top, make sure nothing is overlapping. And then we're just going to burnish that glue down. Flip it open, get off, excuse me, get off any excess glue that you have in there. And then we're going to do the exact same thing for this one. So we're just going to burnish down our 1/2 inch score mark. Okay. Add glue to that 1/2 inch flap that we just created. And then we're going to do the same thing. I'm going to flip this around so that I make sure I get this nice and straight. Your scoreboard is a wonderful tool for this because it ensures that you get your papers lined up nicely and also straight with this one. So I'm just going to pull this closed and make sure that we're lining up, and I am, before burnishing. Burnish that down nicely. Open it up. So now, as you see, we have our second section with our double fold. Now we also are going to have, as I did in the original, there will be a smaller flap now that will go on top here. And you can add a magnet if you want this to close tightly. I did not opt for a magnet on mine. And that is going to be, just to make sure I have the right pieces here. Yes, I think, let me see here. I am missing some stuff. Aha, here we go. So this is what I have cut out for this. So I have a 4.5 by 4.5. So this was a 4.5 by 5 sheet of paper. So 4.5 wide, 5 inches tall. You could do this any size that you want, as long as it fits in the space. If you wanted to cover more of that background, you can. If you wanted to cover less, you could make it smaller. So again, we have that 1/2 inch score line on the 5-inch side of mine. And I am just going to add glue. And I'm going to hold those corners down, push this up, and I want to make sure I have about the same amount on both sides, which that looks good. And we are going to adhere this. Now, the original one that I did in the bee paper, I will tell you, I only did 1/4 inch score lines, spines. And I really wanted to make sure I had a little bit more option as far as what I could put in this album. So this one is a little bit different than my original. So now we have our base completed. On the original, I have a pocket here, which we will do. Now on this original, I did not have this back flap, which is the new addition. So rather than having this pocket here, we're going to have a tuck spot and an additional pull. So we have 4 sections rather than the 3 that I had in my original. It's always fun to go back to older projects and find new ways to make them look different, or add things, or follow along and do things just a little bit differently. And I'm noticing that this piece here is a little off. So I am going to fix that really quick. Sorry for the oops. It's just a little bit off center, and I don't want it to stick out on the top. But when I put it on up against my scoreboard, I didn't get it nice and straight like I would like. So I'm going to redo that. There we go. That's better. Burnish that down. Even better now because I messed it up. Get that glue off of there. And any kind of mistakes like this, I'm going to be covering with paper, the pattern paper, so it doesn't really make that big of an impact on it. So next we're going to go through and we are going to decorate our pages. So I have cut out, and I did have these all nice and neat. So bear with me for just one moment. Okay, so we're going to do our first page here. And that is going to be, I will tell you the measurements of all of these. So in total, you need, if you're going to mat this fully like I've done, you need 10 solid sheets, and they can be, if you already have this coordinating paper or whatever coordinating paper you're using, they can be any of those, but you need 10 of these that measure 5 3/8 by 5 3/8. And these are going to go as my mats. And then our decorative papers are, there's 10 of these, and they're at 5 1/4 by 5 1/4. Okay. And I am going to grab really quick, like my black Distress ink and ink tool so that I can ink the edges of these papers. I apologize. I recently rearranged my office again, or my craft room. And when I did that, I'm still working on where to put things because I'm actually facing the opposite direction that I used to. And I found a more functional way to put my desk so that I can film and I can create and have more space and have everything at a hand's reach. But there are still a few kinks to work out, as always, when rearranging is done. So get these inked up really quickly. And you don't have to do this. This is optional. And you can also do this in any coordinating ink color that you like. So we are just going to first place our blue solid, if you're using this collection. I'm going to put that down. And it leaves about 1/8 of an inch of that black showing, which is a really nice clean look. Line that up. And I got a little too much glue, as you can see. I like to use a bone folder to really flatten out the paper and move that glue around underneath. And sometimes I have a little too much glue, and that's what happened there. So next we're going to use this, our decorative paper. Again, the decorative paper, I'm not doing a cut guide per se for this as far as a step-by-step cut guide. So I'm hoping that everyone has a pen or a pencil and a piece of paper. You can jot down the measurements as I go. I will give them as I go. Again, the mat's 5 3/8 by 5 3/8 in a solid color. If you were not matting, then that would be the size of your decorative paper. If you were just using the decorative papers with no mats, which you can do, you would do these at 5 3/8. If you're doing the mats are 5 3/8 by 5 3/8, and the decor paper is 5 1/4 by 5 1/4. Okay, so now we're just going to put this right down, and again, leaving about 1/8 of an inch of our mat showing all the way around. And I'm just going to burnish all that glue down nice and neatly. This page is going to have a belly band option. So let me just get this inked really quick like. I've got 2 strips. And I will say that most of my belly bands, I go back after I've figured out the layout of all of my pages in an album or a folio. I like to go back through my scraps and then realize what I have. Once I know what I have and what sizes I have, then I know I can do pockets, I can do little flips, I can do these belly band options, and also make inserts, tags and such for those belly bands. So now I have a belly band cut from the same black paper as the background. It's 2 inches wide by 6.5 inches long, and we have score lines at 1/2 inch on either end, okay? And this is just simply going to be glued just like we do our flaps. We're going to put glue on these 1/2 inch tabs. Place that right down about in the middle of your paper. And it needs to go all the way over to the black. So line it up so that it goes right to the score line on this side and the black on this side. And if you don't get it right in the middle, it doesn't matter, as long as you have it on there. Next, I'm going to add this cute black and white paper, which is the flip side of this one and looks really nice in contrast. And I will tell you really quickly that this piece for the cover of our belly band is going to measure 5 3/8 by 1 7/8. So you have 1 7/8, 5 3/8. Okay, and just leave some of that black showing, not that much, and you have that. And like I said, you can decorate exactly as I'm doing. You can do your own spin on it. You could put a belly band this way. You can do whatever you like. This is just an option. And then this is just a scrap of the blue paper that I had left over, and I wanted to bring some of the blue out of that background piece, as well as the blue flowers. So I'm just going to put this right across the middle of my belly band. It also measures out to that 5 3/8, and then it was just a scrap. So I'm not quite sure. It's about 1/2 inch wide, I believe. I'm just going to put that on. See how nice that looks? Gives us a nice little extra. And I'll be making a photo mat of some sort to put in here. So we're going to move on now. Set this out of the way. And we're going to do our middle section. Now this one is going to be a little bit different because it is a middle section. I'm using the yellow solid here. Again, 5 3/8 by 5 3/8. That will go down first after I ink it. I just love the colors of this collection. I mean, all of Simple Stories collections are beautiful and they coordinate so well. But like I said, if you do not have this paper in your stash and you want to make this with something else, go for it. There's so many beautiful collections to choose from. Tamara's new All-American is a beautiful one. This would make a wonderful folio to give as a 4th of July gift. So I'm just going to put my mat down. And once you have one, you can kind of eyeball lining them up so that they match. And then you know right where your paper goes. I frequently do a lot of that eyeballing. All right. So then I have this beautiful bird paper. Again, 5 1/4 by 5 1/4. Add my glue. This paper is just gorgeous. I love these colors. You would never think, just thinking, oh, yellow and turquoise would look so good together, but it does. It looks amazing together. I'm loving it. So we are going to place this down just like we did the other, leaving about 1/8 of an inch of space all the way around. These middle portions here will become photo mats. So you can place a photo here. You can get a nice picture right inside of here. You could add journaling, anything that works for you. So now these pages here are a little bit different size-wise, and I'm going to do this front portion first. Do this a little out of order. So I'm going to put my yellow. Or did I choose yellow? Or did I want blue? Many things. Let's see here. I'm going to go with the blue on this. And this, being as this is a 4 1/2, I will tell you the measurement of this little piece to cover it. Like I said, you can make your flap, your top flap, any size you want. You can make it the same size as the paper if you want and have a 1/3 full flap. It will still move. Not as gently as it would if you did this size, but it will still move. So this piece here for our 4 1/2 by 4 1/2 is 4 3/8 by 4 3/8. Just add my glue to that. The dropsies. All right, I'm gonna put that right there. Again, leaving that lovely little black outline. It's fantastic look. Black and turquoise, one of my favorite combos. And then I have this fun little Life is Good cut apart. I'm going to add, and you could do anything you like here. You could leave it just the blue or whatever color you're using to make this folio. We are just going to add this. Now this one's going to have a little bit more space around it because this is a cut apart. That is a 4 by 4. So we're just going to make sure we have the same equal amount of space all the way around, like so. Okay, easy peasy, lemon squeezy. All right, so there's that portion. We'll go back to the other part. We're going to move on to this next part here, and for that I am going to be using this white, I do believe. Let me see here. Where's my, oh, there's my score line. So we'll have white and then the black and white is what I had planned here. No, that's not correct. We're going to go back to the blue here, I think. And then the black and white. Okay. All right, so ink up this blue piece of paper. down. And then our black and white check. All right, let's move on to this fun little spot here. We're going to go back to the middle. So for this one, we are going to have white on the inside piece here with our little belly band, and we're going to have blue on the outside. So let's do our inside piece first. Get that inked. All right, get that on there. And for this, we're not going to put any patterned paper on this. So this is a 3 7/8 by 5 3/8, and we're not going to put any patterned paper here. Now what we're going to do is we are going to make this little thing a tuck spot. So just put a line of glue there and a line of glue there and simply close it. And that's going to give you this fun little tuck spot. Make sure it burnishes nice and straight down. And we'll have this fun little tuck spot here. And we're going to cover this paper too. I just didn't cut a piece yet for it. So, all right. Now we are going, excuse me, to add the blue to the back here. Get this inked up. And we'll just add our glue. Okay, and now I am going to take this little black piece that measures 3 3/8 by 4 1/2, and I've scored it at 1/2 inch across the top. So we're going to put that on this page as well. And we're just going to try to eyeball that as good as possible right up there at the top, leaving the same amount of space on both sides. It's about 1/4 inch. Line that up as good as you can. Grab my bone folder here. Make sure that's straight. Okay. And it is not completely straight, so let's, there we go. Yeah, it's better. And then I have this fun little cut apart. Again, if you don't have this paper, if you're using a different collection that has cut aparts, this is one of the smaller cut aparts. Or you can simply cut a piece of paper that has an image on it that you like. And I am going to add this to my flap. Like so, leaving that little bit of space all the way around it. And there we go. Now I also like to, the Simple Stories papers, they're tops of the papers where they tell you what they are. They always have part of a pattern, and I love these little bees. So I am going to, it looks like I cut that a little bit too long. So I'm going to snip just a little bit of that off. That's better. And I am going to add this just as an added little border. This is a scrap, again, cut off the tops of the paper. You can do this with stickers. You can do this with anything, piece of scraps that you have. Does not have to be the exact one that I'm using. Just going to add my glue to the back of that. And put it on the very bottom, leaving about 1/4 of an inch from the bottom. So it just adds that white that sticks out a little bit, and I like that look. So just the small details sometimes make all of the difference on a project. Okay, so we will, like I said, decorate this pocket here and add some paper to the back of this. Next, we're going to go back to this middle portion and finish this off. So I have already cut some different papers for this. And I don't think that I cut one for this, but we're going to start with the innards of this open portion. And we have yellow here, so let's do the white and the blue for the inside. Okay, and that gives you a nice look of all the colors. And these, because our flips are a little bit different sized, these are going to measure at 5 1/8 by 4 7/8. So 4 7/8 tall, 5 1/8 inch wide. Get that ink up. Add my glue. And like I said, you could add magnets to this closure if you wanted to. I chose not to. I didn't feel the need for it because it is just a simple folio. This is not an elaborate project by any means. It's something you can make quick and simple. And that's some of my projects I prefer that way, just because you can do them with so many different variations of papers. And this is one of my favorite styles of folios that I've created in the past. So now I'm going to use the white on this side. This paper does have some kind of mute numbering in the background of it. So I want to make sure, I mean, it doesn't really matter if they're all upright, but I'm a little pickier. So I like to make sure, as you can see, that little numbers on there. Okay, let's get this. Oops, slide that over just a bit. Down. There we go. All right, so now we have our mats down. And again, these mats, because our flips are smaller, are going to be 5 1/8 by 4 7/8. Okay. So next we have our patterned papers. And I am going to, I think, wait just one moment here. No, these are staying solid. I apologize for that. So next we have these ones. These again, 5 1/8 by 4 7/8. I just want to decide if I want white or if I want, let's go with that. We're going to do the white on the front, or the yellow, excuse me. Yeah, we're going to do, what do we have here? We have blue. So we're going to do the yellow here. So we're going to do this one first. And, losing my papers here. What did I say? I'm going to do the white on the inside here. The blue. Let's do the blue. Because then we have two blues this way. I'm going to be yellow. I apologize. I had this all laid out and then you just never know. Oh, that's a lot of yellow, but I kind of like that. And then we have the white here. The blue here. I don't know what that is. I have this, like so. That'll work. Okay. So I am going to go ahead and put this yellow. Sometimes you have a plan, at least me, sometimes I have a plan for exactly which papers I want to go where when I get a folio started. And then I look at it and go, I think maybe this would look better this way. So yeah, it does change. I don't consider those oopses. I consider those creative. All right, so we're gonna add our glue to this portion. Place that down. One of the things I love about Simple Stories papers is when they have these solid packs, a lot of the times, the solid colors have enough of a pattern in the background that they just look beautiful by themselves. And you don't really need to add anything. And I like that. So we were going to do the blue here, correct? No, the white. So we will put the white one on there. Get it all nice and inked. And if I didn't mention it before, I am, as always, using Art Glitter Glue, available in the Country Craft Creations store. I love this glue. I swear by it. I've tried many, many, many other glues. This one just never fails me. I am a true art glitter fan, as most of us scrapbookers and album creators are. All right. So that is what we have there, and I'm going to add this fun blue check paper to our white, and I will give you the measurement of that in just a second here. Make sure this one's nice and inked so it really pops off that white background. And this decorative paper, and this will go for the same for these if you're going to decorate these, which I am not. This decorative paper is going to be a 5-inch by 4 3/4 inch tall. I am choosing only to decorate the front one here. Place that down, leave some of that gorgeous white, bright white showing around the edge. There we go. And I probably will add a sticker or something fun to this and add paper here. I thought I had cut paper for that, but I guess I did not. I do have this fun little piece here. I'm going to cut this down. I have this fun little piece that's, I'm not going to mat this. I'm just going to cut this fun little butterfly piece down to what we need, which is going to be 4 3/8 by 4 3/8. So let's cut this down. And I want to keep as much of that butterfly as I can. So I'm not going to, I'm not going to cut from the top or that side. 4 and, what did I say? 3/8. Okay. 4 and 3/8. So now we have this fun little picture created. Add some ink to that. Again, you could mat this if you wanted to as well. I just happen to have this piece laying here and I love it, so I'm going to go ahead and use it. Rather than putting a solid piece back here, I'm going to use this. Sometimes I just create as I go. Put that, leave that black outline there. That's nice. Yes, I like that. All right. So now we have that one decorated. So the last thing to do before we do the covers is going to be this little strip here. And what I have left over may be different than what you have left over. So I'm just going to go ahead and decorate that on my own. It will be a 5 3/8 tall piece that you will need no matter what. All right, so let's finish this fun little folio up. I have done some cutting off camera, and I have also done some of the other embellishing. Again, with the mats being 5 3/8 by 5 3/8, I have placed one on the cover here. I put a white one on the back side with this plaid paper in the 5 1/4 by 5 1/4. And then as you can see, when we open this, I did a yellow mat with the bee paper. Next, I want to show you how to make a little sliding mechanism here. And this is super simple. You can make this prior to making your belly band and sticking it down, but I'm just going to do it this way. What you want to do is just grab one of your scrap papers and tuck it up underneath of there. And then you don't want this to pull tight. So if you need to put something in there, kind of like Tamara does with her waterfall, where she shows you to put the back piece on, we don't want this tight because we want this to be able to slide across here. And we're just going to make it. And when you get that done, you just want to, before you glue it, make sure that it's going to slide all the way down, back and forth on here. All right, and we're just going to glue that down. Well, if my glue will cooperate. We want to make sure that we're only gluing it to itself. Don't glue it down to your paper, or you won't have a sliding mechanism. So once you have that done, you can see that slides on there very nicely. I'm having a little bit of an issue here. I think it has something to do with my belly band. Just want to make that. I'm just going to go under there with a bone folder a little bit and see why we're having an issue here. All right, so once you have that on, then I'm just going to take some of the fun little die cuts from the die cut collection, and I'm just going to put a little stack of them on here. I'm going to go with the lemon here. Maybe some of these fun little blue flowers would be cute. We have our lemon and then our flowers, and we could add a little butterfly to that. Want this to cover that white piece of paper back there, but we want to make sure that we can see all of our fun little embellishments. So then once you have this down, like I said, you can add anything you want to it. I'm probably going to add some of these a little later. You could, like I said, make this prior. You could use some of the cut aparts if you have them. You could do one large butterfly on here if you didn't mind the little white showing in the background. Any way that you want to embellish that, you can. So next we're going to move on to this portion back here. This is where we added this fun little mechanism. I went ahead and added some of the white paper there, and we're just going to open this up. I added some paper here from my scraps, and where we're going to work now is on this little pocket that's going to go here. So for that, I have cut a 3 by 5 piece of paper. scored it 1/2 inch on 3 sides, mitered those corners as you can see, and then I used my envelope punch board to make this little notch. You can use a half round circle, or if you have a notch punch, that works just as well. I am going to go ahead and ink this yellow piece of paper that I cut for my pocket. And you just want to add paper. You can either add the solid like I'm going to, and then I'm just going to embellish the pocket with either a strip of scraps or some of the stickers that I do have. Maybe a piece of the ephemera. And you can make your pocket any size. I did mine at, it's 2.5 by 4 in total. I do believe. Let me just double check that before I tell you that. I'm going to go ahead and put this yellow paper down on here. Grab my little, I like to have a little rag always close to me because I tend to use too much glue. So what we have for the pocket that I made is, like I said, it was a 5" by 3.5" piece of paper. And that made a 4 wide by 3 tall pocket. Once we got our notches on there. So I'm going to go ahead and go back and burnish down all of my 1/2" score lines. Fold that one in, and then I am just going to add glue to those 1/2" tabs. And then that pocket is just going to kind of go off-centered. I'm going to use the lines of this checkerboard paper to guide where I put it. And it's just going to go right down on the paper like so. Easy peasy. Next, I'm going to go over to this one, which is where I was originally going to put the pocket there, and then I decided I liked it better. Actually, you know what? Yeah, let's leave it there. So the pocket can go there, or you can put it back here, where I'm actually going to put this fun little. This is a piece of the black cardstock that I cut to 4 1/4. And it is 5 inches tall, and it is scored at 1/2 inch on the right hand side. And then this little piece of paper is a cut apart that I wanted to use at 3.5 by 4 5/8, and I did the same with the yellow on the back. And for this, I am just going to ink that, or excuse me, glue on that 1/2 inch. And we are going to bring this in right at the side of our paper. Leave a little at the top and a little at the bottom. Line that up. And now we have another little spot for a picture or anything that you like. Okay, so that is my little folio and the updates herein. I was going to originally put that pocket, and you can do this if you like. This pocket was originally going to go here, and this was going to go back here. Either way will work. I'm going to go ahead and do some embellishing of the pockets, decorate my little slide piece and my cover, and that will be the end of it. So I hope that you, if you have this paper in your stash, you use this and make this fun folio. You can add more flips if you like. You can add magnets to this middle portion. Anything you want to do will work with this. And also it will work with any collection. But this would be amazing with navy artisan as your base, and the new beach paper from Simple Stories, or the new one that one of the new ones Tamara's come out with for CCC exclusives. So I hope you've enjoyed this. Have a wonderful crafty day.